The main reason I'm making this video is to tell people that you do not need a lot of money to buy a lot of books. You just need to know how to run fast. Hello everyone, this is Kunal from Books Baatcheet, and as you can already guess from the title, this is my first book haul of the year 2023. I've technically hauled them. I don't know if that's a word, but I've already put them on my Instagram stories. But since content is important and I also want to talk a few sentences about these books, I have bought them from Amazon, from an independent bookstore in Mumbai, and a book fair which I attended. So some of these are really cheap. I'll talk about that also in the video. I won't take a lot of time because there are like many titles, so I'll already start with them. First one is this, I Have More Souls Than One by Fernando Pessoa, who's a popular Portuguese poet. He's written the popular book Book of Disquiet. I'm very excited to read that one because I'm done with this one. I've also shared my thoughts about it on my Instagram. The major, it's a collection of poems by Pessoa and 3 other heteronyms of his. And the major theme around which the poems are written are, Pessoa and his never-ending conflict with himself. So it's a good book, good for the price. I didn't love it, but I'm very excited for reading the Book of Disquiet. Next is Flush by Virginia Woolf. I loved this one. I've read this one. I've shared my thoughts about it. It's a crossover of fiction and biography of a Cocker Spaniel. His name is Flush, who's the dog of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, who's a UK poet from the 1840s, I think. So Virginia Woolf herself read the letters between Elizabeth and her partner, and so this is a crossover between a fiction and a biography of the dog, and it's a very cute book. I would definitely recommend, and especially to the people who have not read Virginia Woolf, I think you should start with this one. The reason being, I'll talk about it in a separate video, but yep, I got these two from Amazon. Next is Fludd by Hilary Mantel. This is a historical fiction book as well. A disclaimer, I have not read the Thomas Cromwell series of hers because 3 books and I'm not really into series, and also the plot didn't really interest me. But this plot is the plot of this is very interesting. It's about a character named Fludd who is sent to a fictional town in UK by the bishop to assist. The bishop is is a bully, and he sent Fludd to assist a father, Angwin, who has already lost his faith, and he resembles the devil in some sense, and there's a lot of connotations around Christianity, around the Roman Catholic Church. It's a critique, you can say, of the Roman Catholic Church, and it's sympathetic towards the people of that town. It's a good plot. I read in Wikipedia. I got this for very cheap. So yep. Next is the Motorcycle Diaries by Che Guevara, who's a communist revolutionary from Cuba. This is his memoir. I wanted a different edition, by the way, the modern classics. This is gifted to me by my Bhabhi's brother. He had it and he didn't need it, so he gave it to me. It's about how Che Guevara traveled in his bike with his friend when he was 23 years old. They together covered 8,000 kilometers, wherein he saw a lot of social injustice and like how his ideology shaped the way it was. This memoir is about that. Next is Alice Munro, the Nobel Prize winner. This is a disclaimer again. This is my toxic bookish trait that I have a habit of collecting books of Nobel Prize winners or Booker Prize, of reading books which were, for example, shortlisted in the Booker Awards and all of it. That's my bookish toxic red flag, you can say. So this is Lives of Girls and Women by Alice Munro. This is the only novel of her. She's a Canadian short story writer, and this is the only novel of her, so I had to buy it. I might start with this one. and then I'll shift to the short stories. And also this, although being a novel, it's said that when you read it entirely, it's like pieces of a short story of a single narrator, you know, pieced together. So I'm very excited to see how this goes. Next is So Now You Know by Vivek Tejuja. He's a popular book blogger from Mumbai, and this is his memoir of growing up as a gay man in India, as the title says. And I also follow him. I like his work, so I thought I should be buying this one. I spotted the book in a book fair, so I thought I'll buy this one. And next is Hadji Murat by Leo Tolstoy, the last work of Leo Tolstoy. This was published after his death. It's a short novella, as you can see. It's about Hadji Murat, who was actually a Muslim rebellion who rebelled against the Russian Empire. Although this being a historical fiction, it shows that how Hadji Murat sides with the Russian Empire in order to save his family. And this is considered to be like very different from Tolstoy's other works. Like there's no purification of characters, and you know, a moral this thing of characters is grayed out, you can say, if I'm using the right term. So I had to buy this. I again spotted this one in a book fair, so for very cheap, 60 rupees I think per copy. Oh, next one is a Hindi novel, Maila Anchal by Phanishwar, Nath, Renu. And this was his debut novel. It's had a very big impact on the Hindi literature. It changed the way the Hindi novels were written back then. It's about a small village in northeast Bihar, about the tribes living there and their role during the Quit India movement. So pre-independence time pe set hai ye novel. So I am very excited to read this one also. So this year my Goodreads target is of reading 50 books, and out of the 5 books are going to be Hindi novels. This is what I've thought. I hope I'm able to fulfill or complete that challenge. Next is Eileen by Otessa Moshfegh. This is her debut novel. This is about a 24-year-old unhappy woman who works at a prison, who works as a secretary in a prison in UK. How the events that takes place in the prison shapes her life. This is about that. She's used stream of consciousness for this novel, and this being her debut novel, and you know, for directly being shortlisted for the Booker, I was very pleased to be spotting this at a book fair, and I am excited to read this. I'm excited to read all the books. पता नहीं पढ़ूंगा कब. Next is The Vanishing Act of what's the name? The Vanishing Act of Esme Lennox by Maggie O'Farrell. I've read her memoir. I loved the way she writes, so I had to buy this one. This is a fiction work of hers, and I was very intrigued. So in this haul, there are 2 books that I was very much intrigued by their plot. This is one of them. It's about a woman and her aunt who is being released from an asylum in UK after being locked for 60 years. But the twist is that the woman doesn't know that the woman has never heard of this aunt of hers. Her parents have never told her about this aunt. So I was very much intrigued. A suspense novel hai basically. So I was very much intrigued by the plot, and hence I went again, spotted in a book fair. I don't know ye exposure kitna hai. I do not think y'all are able to see the books. ठीक है, अलग से B-roll डाल दूंगा. Next is Gilead by Marilynne Robinson. This is a fictionalized autobiography of a man, which is written in a way that it's a single never-ending document. It's written in that way. It's about a man who's ailing from a heart disease, and he's writing this autobiography for his son, who's I think 7 years old at the time he is writing. The man is 76 years old. His son is around 7 years old, and he's writing this autobiography for his son. So the way it is written, I was very much impressed to know that it's written in this way. So I bought this one, again spotted in a book fair. The next 2 books I would say are short story collections by Alice Munro. one is Julieta, and one is Friends of My Youth. In this there are, I think, 5 stories, and this is a movie and book tie-up sort of a book. This is the poster of the movie, I suppose. Movie or series which is made. The director was inspired by the 3 stories of Alice Munro. I think they are Chance, Soon and Silence. These are the 3 stories. This book better be good because I didn't like the cover. This is another toxic bookish trait, judging the book by the cover. So these 2 are short story collections by Alice Munro. Next is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. This is about Cora, who's a woman who's a slave in Georgia, who aims to live a free life so that she could, live freely and find her mother who had abandoned her at a very young age. And all the characters are, like rebellious black slaves set in Georgia. This also, I think, won the Pulitzer Prize, so spotted in a book fair again. Next is The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. A very difficult name. This was written, I think, around 200 years back. It's about a woman who conceives a baby from a man who is not her husband. So the themes revolving are sin or legalism, how the legal system worked back then when it came to such issues, and how she had a tough time living a life with dignity in UK. So my friend, I had gone to the book fair with a friend of mine, and she had read this book, she said, and she liked it, so I thought I should go with this one. The plot bhi मेरे को ना अच्छा लगा. Next one, I don't need a reason, Naraz by Rahat Indori. I love reading poems in Urdu Shairi. I love reading Urdu Shairis more than I love reading English poems, so I had to buy this one. Next one is Mai by Geetanjali Shree. Mai means mother, and Geetanjali Shree, as we all know, who won a Booker Prize a year back. This is her debut novel. I have the Hindi hardcover and the English hardcover as well. I'm going to read both of these, and I'll be making a video on how important translations are. So stay tuned for that video, and subscribe the channel if you're not subscribed by now. Yep, I have the English book also. It's not here right now. I got it 3 months back. This is a very special book. Indian Christmas, essays on how Christmas is celebrated in India, on what significance does the festival of Christmas hold in India. Essays combined and edited by Jerry Pinto and Madhulika Liddle, and this is a signed copy, so I'm very much proud of myself for attending this event where Jerry Pinto himself was talking about this book, and I got it signed from him. So I am proud of myself for acquiring this copy. I have not read it yet. I'll read it next year maybe. Disclaimer: toxic bookish trait. This is the same book, 2 different paperbacks. The toxic bookish trait is to collect different covers. I have not read the book yet, but I thought I already have, 2 different paperbacks and 1 hardcover. This is The English Patient by Michael Ondaatje, which won the Booker Prize in 1992. Because it won the Booker Prize and I was at this book fair, तो मतलब वहाँ पे spot किया, ले लिया, 50 rupees का है यार. So these are the 2 paperbacks I spotted there. This is Everyman's library hardcover. ये पूरा नया लिया है, MRP पे लिया है from an independent bookstore in Mumbai. And this won the Booker Prize in 1992, as I said, and it's a very interesting plot. It's set during the World War II, during this particular time when the liberation of Italy was going, and 4 people in the story, 4 people are brought to an isolated place, one of which is an Indian, Sardar man. I am intimidated by this one because the plot goes like back and forth to the events in the past and in the present. but this one friend I know on Instagram, she said that it's not that difficult also. So I'm intrigued by this one also, and also proud of myself for acquiring for acquiring 3 copies. Super proud of myself for getting this hardcover for 50 rupees, new hardcover, and the cost price is 50,000 on Amazon. पता नहीं क्या मतलब क्रिप्टो करेंसी है, भाग ही जा रही है, 100% हो गया. But sorry, the book is Red Birds by Mohammed Hanif. I didn't know, he's a British Pakistani writer, and the book is a political satire. It's about the consequences of a war and the post-war times in a town, and it criticizes the US foreign policy. So I'm assuming it must be set in Afghanistan or Iran or Iraq, but yeah, very much intrigued to read this one. The banned Salman Rushdie book, which nobody talks about. Technically the ban was lifted, so the book is The Moor's Last Sigh. Wait, let me check the edition, because I think this is the first edition that I have acquired. Yes, this is the first edition hardcover. This book was released in 1995, banned in 1995. The ban was lifted in 1996. Salman Rushdie has used the elements of magical realism in this. Why it was banned is because it spoke about the back then ruling party of Mumbai, Shiv Sena, and the leader Balasaheb Thackeray. So it was banned, and it also spoke. There's also a dog in this story named Jawaharlal, which of course named after the first Prime Minister of India. So I think that was also a reason, I'm assuming, contributing towards the ban. It's about the narrator and the 4 generations of narrator, their story and their story and their consequences on the narrator. So yeah, I'm very much proud of myself again to be spotting this one at a book fair, and the first edition hardcover. So happy. Next is the hardcover, and these these hardcovers, all of these are for barely for $2, 100 rupees. This one is for 120 rupees. The Mohammed Hanif book was for 55 rupees. This is The Heart Goes Last by Margaret Atwood. This is the second book जिसका plot I found very much interesting. Where's the first book? I think this, yeah, The Vanishing Act of Esme Lennox, and this is the second book. The plot is very interesting. The first line written on Wikipedia was something like the story where the lawful are jailed and the lawless roam free. So I had to buy it. That one sentence was enough. This is a dystopian novel. Although this is not as popular and as good as The Handmaid's Tale, this is what people have reviewed on. I read the Google reviews, but yeah, it's set in a town where like the whole town is going through an economic crisis, and there's a couple who have themselves lost their job. There's a love story also. Yep. And the last book, finally, Strangeness in My Mind by Orhan Pamuk, who has also won the Nobel Prize. It's based in Istanbul in the 1960s, how the city aged, the culture of the city. There are 5 characters around. It's majorly focused on one character who works in Istanbul, and it's the aging of the city and the culture, the richness of the culture that are highlighted in this novel by Orhan Pamuk. So yep, this was the last book, and I have talked about a few videos that I'm going to be just a Virginia Woolf Flush review. I'll be posting it, I think, next week. So yep, if you've made it, I'm very much happy, and it's still the 12th of January, so I'll be buying more books in the coming days. I'm traveling also in between, but I'll be buying more books. I'll cover them later, maybe the February book haul. But yeah, I'm very happy that the start of this year was, you know, buying so many books, and also I've already finished reading 3 books. So yeah, very much looking forward to 2023 and the reading journey. Let's see how it goes. If you made it till here, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you people in the next video. Keep reading books, keep collecting books. Bye.